Hey everybody, this is Dr. Flight. I hope you're doing great. We're now in week four of Marketing 357, Marketing Research. I hope you've had a great week. I want to recap a little bit of week three, but then also preview week four as we jump into this. It's hard to believe that we are starting February, so I hope everything again is going well for you for the semester. Um, so just to kind of, you're familiar with Moodle, and what I'll do is pull up the course schedule here that we have and blow that up a little bit so it's a little bit bigger. As you know, we finished up week three last week with secondary data, chapter three of the textbook, and just as a highlight here, one of the assignment of a homework assignment that we have is the marketing metrics assignment, metrics part one, and it's due on the 6th. So that's something to look at. It's a worksheet basically. And in the worksheet, there are going to be two parts. One is you'll have 20 questions. Each question has a metric that you should solve for. There'll be a problem. There'll be a metric, like a calculation to make. So you should solve for that. Part two is for each one of those to talk about the metric and talk about why it's important to a marketing manager, why a marketing manager would use it. So it's a two-part piece for each of the 20 questions. To help support you, there is a PDF that's in the assignment that's available, which it's a document that describes each of the different metrics that we use. Now, it's a pretty extensive document, so you'll want to go in it and look for the metric that you may be having a problem with or a question about. If it's a new metric you've never seen before, then you want to be able to do that. And that's the support material, though, for you to learn what the metric is, learn how to solve for the metric, and then explain why it's important to a marketing manager. So all that information is available for you there, especially if these are concepts that are new to you. So twice during the semester, we have a metrics assignment like this. This is metrics number one, and in a few weeks, we'll have metrics number two. It's important, though, as a marketing manager to understand the numbers that we use to assess performance. And so most of these metrics do exactly that. They assess performance for what you're doing and how you're doing it. So I want to put that out, and hopefully you have enough time to knock that out for this later this week. And let me know if you run into any problems, of course, with that. And that'll be good. And of course, we have our weekly quizzes. So our quiz this week, today at 5, is for chapter 3, which is last week's chapter. So that's something that we're looking on the horizon here to do as well. That's secondary data. And as we move into week 4, then, and again, the process here is we do 4 weeks of content, and then we have 1 week where we sort of take a pause and we just, don't add any content. So week 4 is our 4th week, chapter 4 in the textbook. Qualitative research methods. This would include things like doing interviews, doing focus groups, and things like that. Again, the text is really strong in this area. We also have the podcast that's available for you to look at, or listen to rather. And there are PowerPoint slides if you feel comfortable looking at those as well. Those are available for you too. So again, week 4 just continues the material, continues getting you deeper into the research process. And so this should be a good experience for you. To be able to look at that and see what we're doing there. The other thing that we'll want to be aware of as we move forward in these 2 weeks, or in this week, is the SimNet chapters 1 and 2, and the projects for chapter 1 and 2 are both due the following week on the 13th, so next week. those will be due or needed to be done. Again, that's in the SimNet through McGraw-Hill. And again, there's going to be 4 things here. Chapter 1, you learn about the basics of entry and elements in Excel, and then there's a short project, and then chapter 2, again, it goes a little deeper into some of the mechanics of Excel and the project that's associated with chapter 2. Okay, so there's actually 4 components there that you'll be able to find in Moodle, but then also once you go to SimNet, you'll be able to see what those are. Please give me feedback and let me know how those are going. And then chapter 4 quiz will be on the 10th. So next week that'll be due then. Okay, so all about this week is qualitative data collection. How do we collect data that's qualitative data? What is qualitative data? And there's a bunch of different techniques that we use, whether it's interacting with an individual like on a one-to-one basis, collecting like interview data, whether it's gathering data from a group, whether it's observational when we're watching people behave and we're recording notes. There's also something called protocol analysis and some other observation techniques that where we look to have people project what they would do or what they think or what they feel. So qualitative data is all about getting in-depth data about feelings, emotions, rationales, reasoning, psychological things, and such that we can't get in. You can't get that type of you can't capture that really effectively or as effectively in surveys. So we use qualitative data to help us do this type of work. Now, qualitative data is also used heavily in exploratory research. So that's another application of why it's important and what you want to think about there. Okay, so again, where we're coming from week 3, where we're going week 4. Again, we're kind of hopefully in a good pattern now. Next week, week 5, we take a week off from content in the text, and I just add a little bit more background material for projects that researchers will use and do. And so this will be a little bit of a different a break and with no chapter associated with it. Once we kind of get through that week, we jump back into our material. When we're in week 6, we start with chapter 5 and we continue with the text. But next week is kind of like a break, if you will, from our textbook type stuff. Okay, so that's kind of where we are and what we're doing as far as our schedule goes. Again, if we jump into our Moodle page, remember we have these chapter quizzes. You are kind of in the routine doing those, so those should be going well for you. You can always do the SmartBook assignments for extra credit. So I want to encourage you to continue to do those. And then, we have the drop down menus on the left, and then we have our tabs here. So if we jump into the SimNet, we have chapter 1, creating and editing workbooks, and then we have the practice chapter 1 independent project. So that's the thing that's coming up due. And then we have chapter 2, working with formulas and functions, and then the independent project again for chapter 2. So these 4 elements. Now each of these should not take an enormous amount of time. But they are, and for many of you, you are familiar with Excel, so for many of you these will be fairly easy. But if you're newer or you haven't used Excel in a long time or newer to the software, then these will be informative. These will be really helpful for you in your proficiency in doing Excel. Also, by the end of this Excel work, by the end of the term with SimNet, doing all of this will get you a certification. You'll qualify, you'll have a certification. It will be the white belt certification, which you can put on LinkedIn, you can put on your resume. It's an actual skill that you can tell employers that you have. So that's kind of, I think, a really big takeaway, that this is a credentialing opportunity for you in a fairly low stakes element or environment. So it's not a big course component point wise, but it adds benefit to you skill wise, that I think will help you down the road, and I think is really helpful, just in general, I guess, for you. So remember that those are there. Again, the homework assignments. So if we jump into the homework one, or homework number 3, metrics, is something that you're right on the heels of here. You've got the actual assignment, so you can use this Word document, write your answers, and then just resave it and submit it. That would be good to do. And then also there's this PDF that has a whole bunch of the metrics in there. So if you run across a metric you're not familiar with, go to the guide, go to the PDF here and look it up, and it'll give you guidance for it. But this homework assignment, again, it'll tell you what you need to do. We'll just pull it up here real quick. And so you've got this one sheet, 20 questions, and again, following these questions, answer the following questions. So that's part 1, and then explain the relevance of each metric to a marketing manager. The second part. So there's 2 parts to each question, and there are 20 questions. Okay, so that's that homework assignment that we're in the middle of, or that we're doing this week. Again, this should ground you. This should really help you, I think, as a marketing manager. It helps you as a researcher too, because metrics are the things we measure in research, but metrics are also the things we use to make decisions as a manager. So that's why I think this is a good thing to be able to do, and a good background that I think every marketer should basically have, is a database of metrics that they're familiar with. Again, I know you're familiar with the process here, but we're in exploratory. So this is some of the research the area that we're in. We have the podcasts to listen to that relate to the chapter material for chapter 4. It's exploratory and observational research, but it's really qualitative research. That's the area that we're in this chapter 4. Okay, so that's kind of it. That's where we are as far as the term is. This is just again a catch up or a review of where we are. Reach out to me if you have any questions, and let me know if there are any problems or any issues that you're experiencing, and I'll see if I can't help you out with those. And otherwise, have a great day. Hope you're doing well.